Assalamu alaikum dear students, I hope you'll be doing well. In today's video, we are going to do active and passive voice conversion. Dear students, in previous tenses lecture, we have done the translation of active sentences and the translation of passive sentences separately. As we know what are the methodologies of active and passive sentences, but in this video, we are going to know that how we can convert a sentence from active to passive and passive to active. So let's get started with the methodology and the relevant examples. The first tense we have is present tense. Present indefinite tense for making active voice, we know we already have done that we use a subject with V1. V1 is the first form of verb. S or ES, that is complementary S or ES that we use with the first form of verb, followed by an object. For example, he opens the door. Now, when we make passive from active, so the subject becomes the object and the object becomes the subject. Means we change the places of subject and object while converting an active sentence into passive sentence. And is MR is used as auxiliary, and as we had already discussed that we use V3 means third form of verb in these passive sentences, and we use an additional by before the subject when we end the sentence. For example, the door is opened by him. The door was the object and now it has become the subject. Is the auxiliary, opened the third form of verb, and additional by followed by the subject. Now dear students, whenever we change the pronoun from object to subject and subject to object, it changes its form. For example, if we have a pronoun he, then when it becomes an object, it will become him. Similarly, when we have a pronoun she in the active sentence, and when we change it into the passive sentence and it becomes the object of the sentence, then it will become her. Similarly, we change the pronouns accordingly. The next sentence we have is present continuous tense. The active methodology is subject is MR followed by first form of verb with ing and an object. For example, he is opening the door. Now the passive form would be object with is MR and ing will be accumulated with be. So it will become being, by and subject. For example, the door is being opened by him. Similarly, present perfect tense, the active methodology is subject, has and have will be used as auxiliary with third form of verb and object. For example, he has opened the door. The passive sentence would be object plus has have and will use been with third form of verb, by and subject. For example, the door has been opened by him. Now, the fourth type or the fourth form of the present tense is present perfect continuous tense. Dear students, there is no passive exist of the present perfect continuous tense. So, there is no passive tense exists or the passive voice form exists of any present or past or future continuous perfect continuous tense. So now let's move to the next tense, that is past tense. Past tense, past indefinite tense, the methodology is subject plus second form of verb and object. For example, he opened the door. The passive methodology would be object, was were, third form of verb, by and subject. For example, the door was being opened by him. Past continuous tense, the active methodology is subject, was and were, first form of verb with ing followed by an object. For example, he is opening the door, and the passive methodology would be object, was were, being, third form of verb by and an object. For example, the door was being opened by him. The next tense we have is past perfect tense. Active methodology would be subject had with V3 and followed by an object. For example, he had opened the door. And the passive methodology would be object had been V3 by and a subject. For example, the door had been opened by him. Now, dear students, again, the past perfect continuous passive voice does not exist. So that is why we have completed our past tense. In tomorrow's video, we're going to cover the future tense conversion from active to passive. So till then, take care of yourselves and Allah Hafiz.